Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mariner of Spirit. I'm Greg, I'm your host, and tonight we have a special guest from the East Coast. Before I bring him in, I want to mention the things that I normally mention at the beginning of the show. And number one, it's the people that I support. And number one would be Potographs with Tim Miley. Tim Miley is a investigator here up in Wisconsin who has taken on the responsibility of going ahead and doing fundraisers for animals and shelters and things like that. And he's done a great job. And now his wife, Lauren, has stepped in with him and is helping complete that task. And it's got to be great to have two instead of one. And there's a lot of great people that have gone ahead and done a lot of his benefits through the paranormal community. And he does a great job, and he has great people that speak, and it's an awesome event usually. And that's number one. Number two is PKC, Paranormal Kicks Cancer. It's Chris Gaskowski and Alex Wilkinson. And I really wanted to go ahead and get through to them this week before we got to this point, because I do want to mention some other stuff about them, and I didn't confirm it. So I apologize for that. When we get back, we will go ahead and make sure that we've taken care of it. And that will be, when I get back. I'm going to be on a little break. Number three is the Jessica Petrie Foundation, and it's a foundation that was a resource for expecting mothers of families of pregnant women with mental illness. And that's done by Howard Petrie, who was the founder of the Paranormal United Network and Paralanx. And great guy. I've got to know him quite a bit over the last 5 or 6 years, and he's a lot of fun, and he's a great guy, big heart. And then after that, I would just go ahead and mention the authors I support right now, and they're people that I've read a lot of their books, and a lot of them can be found on Amazon or places like that. And I'll start out, and then it's just a list of people: Bruce Holliday, Tobias Wayland, Adam Benedict, Kathy Kressel, Barnaby Jones, Sherilyn Cotter, Dr. Heatherly Langdon, Len Monet, Ron Iacovetti, Victoria Munday, Tony Rathman, Natalie Jones, Patty Negri, Sylvia Schultz, Amelia Cotter, Rex Nielsen, David Sloan, Christina Bloom, and that's it. So what we have tonight is we have a gentleman that I had on before, and I can't remember how long ago it was, because things are really flying for me lately. And he has been a gentleman to the utmost degree. He's a great guy, and he's from the East Coast. And it's ThomasPatrick Gormely. I'm going to bring him in, and he's probably going to shoot me because he's going to say I mispronounced his name again.
Okay. Everybody does. You have to speak Irish to be able to say it right.
Say it one more time for me.
It's ThomasPatrick Gormely. Yeah.
Gormley.
You got to go
Okay.
gore, like core.
Oh, Gore.
Like the
Okay.
famous Irish band, the Coors.
If I do it the next time, you just throw something through the TV. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. Anyway, it's great having you on. And before we really get in the interview, I just want to mention the fact that we're sending prayers for the family of Dan Rivera,
Yeah.
and it's horrible, and that's it. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And now we've got you here, and you are well known in the East Coast for putting on a great deal of events. You've shared your time with a lot of great people, and there's you have a big heart, and it's great to know a guy like you, and it's amazing to see the amount of people that you have that come to the East Coast for a lot of your events that are from out here. It's just the fact that some of us are so busy. It's hard to go ahead and get that time because the only way to get there and get back reasonably is by air.
Yeah.
So I mean it's a hard thing, unless you happen to have a pass or something like that with the airliners. But
Oh yeah.
it's great. When I asked you to come on, I was thinking to myself about the event that was, I want to say, this last one, and it was the Connecticut Paracon.
Yes.
And there were a lot of great people there, and I watched it quite a bit, and I was sort of starstruck.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner. I mean it for people that I have read about and I know their names, but I have never really seen them,
Yeah.
especially face to face. And it's a great you give people a great opportunity with a lot of big names in one room.
Yeah.
And I know that the people that come there are just like Johnny Zaffis, and I've met him, shook his hand, and that's been it. And there wasn't too much said because somebody's always pulling Johnny away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so as far as the way things are going, it's great to see that many events because you give so many extra people an opportunity to go ahead and mingle that way.
Yeah. So really, the Paracon last weekend, I'm still recovering from it. That's why I was able to come on your show. I'm still laying on the couch trying to recover from that weekend. Charles Rosenet and I, as the shaman and the showman, we do produce a lot of events. We've been doing it for a long time. And yes, there's a lot of the people that come to the Paracon. It's a mutual respect. It's the knowing that I know they have something to say in our industry, and it's the right positive get together. I think the craziest part was it's kind of funny was last week at this time we were getting kicked out of an Airbnb because we had too many people there for just a get together party, and so then we had to scramble and find somewhere to go, and people found some hotels, and hanging out with Johnny, and we had to do the Paracon the next day, and so it was weird because we're all there for positive. All these things were going on that some people would just get crushed and like say, "Oh, this happened, that happened," but no, we were all stuck in it. That positive, that gathering, that camaraderie, and all that a lot of people think is missing in this industry, all came together at Paracon last week. Everybody got along. Um, everybody got to meet new people, some old friends, and we all got together. It was amazing. Both days were very amazing. But one of the cool things was John, myself, Dr. Letriana Brown, and Stacia Wills, my partner with Wardruna. We hosted a ghost hunt at an Elks Lodge that's never been investigated before and had many things about being haunted. So you get to ghost hunt with John Zaffis and 3 shaman. So it sold out. We had a lot of people there, got to take them around. They got to ghost hunt with all of us. We split up and make sure that they had that opportunity. It was amazing. We had a lot of great things happen. Stacia and I were down in an old bowling alley they had in this Elks Lodge from the early 1900s. And Stacia was picking up on a gentleman, psychically that he liked baseball. So I had a device out, of course, to listen to voices, doing some ITC. So I said, "Oh, if you like baseball, what was your favorite team?" And clear as day over it said Mets. And
Oh boy.
at the time, our special guest for the whole weekend, Butch Patrick, who played Eddie Munster on the Munsters, was sitting right behind me when this happened. His eyes went wide. He looked at his girlfriend and like he was amazed. It got to give him that experience, even though he grew up in one of the most haunted houses on TV. He was still mesmerized by it, which was fun, getting to see the reaction from all the patrons that were there and all the things that happened, voices, feelings, and it was amazing, and everybody had a great time. But the Paracon, I mean, there were so many people there. You name it, they were there. But you know, uh, I just love being around everybody. It's such a great weekend. There's so many things that happened. There's a lot of pictures online if you follow that were amazing, and probably a lot of the people that were at Paracon had to get in their cars or fly back to be at the Paranormal Rockdown, which is this weekend.
Yeah.
Um, some of my guests like Nate Elwell, Christina Bloom, Gwen Johns, Sam Beltrusis, Dave Childers, Laura Huey, they're all there this weekend. You get to meet them coming around, which is exciting because they're great people. They gave a lot to be at Paracon, and I appreciate them so dearly. But the same weekend, this weekend also, is HillCon, and a lot of my other friends are going to be there, especially um, me being leading up Wardruna as the circle keeper, we call it. Instead of a director, we call it the circle keeper. So, and we have a healing group called Wardruna, and it went really well with Paracon. But we're going to have everybody up at HillCon, and Stacia Wills, my partner, who is the spirit keeper, will be talking with our head of investigations, Greg Faketic, and they'll be talking about Wardruna. And then Sunday night, live on Spirit Realm Network, they'll be doing a live paranormal investigation featuring Wardruna. And you'll get to meet a lot of the people that are part of Wardruna. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it because I can't take 3 weekends off in a row from my normal job. But the great thing is I filmed a video of the introduction to the live, so you'll be able to see my video that I did to introduce Wardruna to the world and who everybody watches. But the following
So
weekend, of course, I'll be in New Hampshire for the Paracon up there in Nashua. That's going to be very exciting. And joining me up there, of course, my partner Charles is the shaman and the showman. Sam Beltrusis will be there, Jimmy Pettinino, Carl Johnson. So a lot of the people that were also at Paracon, we all kind of seem to stick together and overlap and make sure that, we bring the message to everybody about the paranormal or true crime or anything like that, and just bring a good vibe. And that's always important.
do you normally have both of the Johnsons or just one?
Carl usually, Keith. Sometimes I think we in the past we've had Keith, but yeah,
I was just curious.
it's mostly
You know.
Carl. There seems to be like I think Charles and I know Carl better than Keith a little
Okay.
bit, but that's not what keeps him away. But we'd love to have both of them at the same time.
So if people heard the word Wardruna,
Hmm.
Do you have a definition like, or
Well,
could be some?
Wardruna means the keeper of secrets. So basically, as we heal people, it's a healing thing where there's shaman. There's the most eclectic group of shaman that's part of this. There's Reiki healers. There's psychic mediums, of course. There's hypnotists. There's we have practitioners, psychologists that do EMDR. We have medical doctors. We're backed by the Cleveland Clinic. We're also backed by the VA to help people heal from PTSD through the military. A lot of times these things stem from when we do investigations. And when we do these investigations, we deal with people that have these issues, especially like military men. We were given a case of military gentleman that served in the military in Iraq. He come back, and years later, he divorced from his wife, and he started having problems. And my partner station, I determined he had a jinn attached to him. So, we consulted with John Zaffis, who's had, time with this also. And we came to a resolution, and we were able to trap the jinn. And with the type of thing that you have to do as a shaman. There's a thing called the the Pinnacle of Mars, and there has to be a calling of it, and there has to be a blessing over it. And you put these pictures up in all the rooms, and then whenever it's trapped, that paper will fall off the wall to the ground. And where the gentleman was having the most problems was the bedroom, and that's the only place it fell. So we had it trapped in there, waxed it, and gave it as a gift to John Zaffis at Paracon. So that'll be part of his collection.
Holy crap!
Yeah, so it's yeah, we do some very high end cases. We and a lot of them are recommended to us from all over the country and internationally. Um, with the collective of all the people that are part of Wardruna are a lot of big names. Some people like Dave Giuliano, of course, the Faketics. Kathy Faketic is our head of energy. She's a fantastic Reiki master and shamanic healing. Um, and again, we have people down to the point we have dietitians that help you with depression or any type of stress to give you a better diet. This is a whole consortium. It's HIPAA protected. So it's really launching right now, and it's taking off because at Paracon, when Kathy was doing her healing, a lot of the other shaman were joining in on special guests, and they were getting up wondering, I haven't felt this good in so long. And that's where it comes in. It's taking away that and showing that the energy of the healing and just talking through things. Myself having a background in psychology, the console families or spirit to help them move on. It's all intertwined, that energy that's always going around us. So, and we want
Why
to
don't you?
show something different. Hmm?
Excuse me. Why don't you mention or let everybody know what a jinn is?
A jinn is, a lot of people would think it's a demon. It really isn't. It's interdimensional. It's just like us. It's interdimensional. They could have good, they could have bad. They still have free will just like we do. But they also have to answer to a higher power just like we do. So they intertwine with us in that way. Uh, they could protect us. They could create harm just like anybody else. But they're, a little more powerful than we are. It's a matter of seeing it for what it is. Um, there's a lot of tradition with that. A lot of Muslims and all that think demons are jinns. That's what they call them. But it could go either way. There's evil people in the world, so there's good
They
people
all
in the
came. That
world.
all came into our vocabulary when
Mhm.
we were in Iraq and that, right?
Yeah, yeah, the jinn or the jinn. Sometimes it's spelled with a D in the front. Um, it's something your viewers are watching right now. It's something to really look at. Um, I know a lot of people are in the paranormal, and one thing I see a lot, and when we have these discussions, a lot of people look at the paranormal as a linear thing. It's not. You have to look at it in a 360 view. There's so many other things. It isn't just ghosts and demons. There's other things going on that we have to look at spiritually that are around us. We can only see what we could see, but there are things around us that some of us can see. over others, and we're using that energy to help people, and that's what a lot of what Orjuna is about, and it's a movement. I think it's going to change a lot of things in the paranormal as it's launching. I think it's going to cause a shift, and it's a needed shift.
Well, in anything to improve what we're doing as a whole,
Yeah,
is for the better. You know what I mean?
exactly.
You can't lose by doing anything like that the way the community is, because
Yeah,
some parts of the community have a tendency to go stale,
yeah. Well,
and they
that's the
do the
thing
same
is,
thing in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, and it's like, I don't think that's what it's about. It's supposed to be about your heart, and it's about how you look at the paranormal, not only the paranormal but your spirituality at the same
yeah.
time.
Well, it is what the basis of Wardruna, and I've said it before. For me, help the living, help the dead, whatever way you can. But with us, as souls, human beings, we have our spirituality, we have our mental, and we have our physical. If one of those is off, it affects all the other ones.
Right.
So it's a matter of keeping that in line, and that's what Wardruna does, is try to help you realign all of that, whatever it takes. We try and stay away from giving you telling somebody to give you a pill and pop the pill. We try and get to the bottom of it. We do have medical doctors that will do blood tests to see if you're deficient in something that's causing that. An upkeep on different vitamins, anything natural, holistic. We have a great woman. Her name is Gina. She's an herbalist. So it's just a lot of the natural, how they used to do it back in the old days, before you had all these crazy medicines with chemicals in them. You would just pick certain plants and move stuff
Or,
together and make
or
that.
rise coffee.
Exactly. So I'm having my tea right now, so I could go
You
to
have
sleep. So
you drink straight tea?
yeah, it's horchata and cinnamon. It's for sleep and stress. So that way I could relax and feel
Horchata.
the horchata. Yeah.
I picked up some that was, I want to say it was cinnamon,
Yep.
and the other ones that, I can't think of the other chemical or the other powder,
Yeah.
but it didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
But
And it
I,
just
I, I really got a kick out of this rise
yeah.
coffee, and I'm getting a complaint from the boss about the
Yeah.
fact that I want to go ahead and get some and try it, because she doesn't want anything to do with mushrooms.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The mushroom coffee or whatever I hear is pretty good, um, and that's always good. But I don't know. I don't think you can microdose mushroom coffee, can you?
Oh God, I hope not.
Careful what's in that coffee, my friend.
Yeah, that's the thing in a nutshell. A lot of times is the fact that, on the investigations that we do and the places we go, and
Mhm.
we try to keep ourselves on a level plane,
Yeah.
and we end up going into a place, and you have some different, you have a cup of coffee,
Hmm.
and it's like it's been sitting there for like 3 days. So by the time you walk out the door to get in your car, you can't get your car keys out of your hands because you're
Yeah.
shaking so bad.
Oh, it
But
yeah, it gets crazy sometimes. The snacky snacks that we have on these things, you got to be careful what
the
you're
sugars,
eating and drinking on these, because it does affect your energy. You
yes,
could go in and you're getting nothing, decide to drink a cup of coffee, and it vibrates you a little higher, and then all of a sudden stuff starts happening. You really don't know how that affects a paranormal investigation sometimes. So,
I had a I have a place in northern Wisconsin, and I haven't shared this with you.
hmm
It was an old resort, and then somebody bought it, and then they put a bunch of new cabins up. But the original house, or the resort itself, was all fieldstone on the bottom and then logs up, and it was 2 floors.
yeah,
So there were 11 rooms upstairs, and there was a spiral staircase that was made out of birch.
Wow.
typical A northern Wisconsin. And the gentleman that built it during the logging days.
Hmm.
He went ahead and he went up there as like an entrepreneur, and he built the old lodge. And then, he not only built that, but he also built a mill because they started all the big logging in northern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And he was working there. And the day of his wedding, he got called down to the mill, and it was like 4:30 in the morning. And he went down to the mill, and there was an accident.
Oh boy.
And they said that he was going between the logs as they were coming across with the chains,
Hmm.
and he looked one way and he thought it was clear, and for some reason he couldn't dodge out of the way of the next log, and he lost his head.
Ooh.
So I've been investigating in the main lodge, the old lodge, for
Hmm.
probably 15 years. And at the last about 7 or 8 years, I've actually been filming in there. And I've had my sons film me doing Estes sessions and things like this. And all of it was recorded. And then it was sold.
Really?
And the gentleman that owned it wouldn't do this. But he did because the man gave him his word that he could tear everything else down but the main lodge, because that's where Harry was, Harry Starr.
Yeah.
And they tore it down. So I went through an actual I was going through an actual, almost like I lost one of my best friends,
Yeah.
and I couldn't believe it. But one of the last things that I got him to say to me, and this is crazy, but it's true, he
Yeah.
said hernia.
Hmm.
So he told me why that accident happened. He had a hernia and he couldn't, he wanted to try to get out of the way, and the pain was so extreme he couldn't move, and bammo.
Yeah.
So that was my own place,
Hmm.
literally. The owner knew that I was doing it, and I always talk to him and tell him how Harry was, and Harry was in his kitchen, and when they would cook these, he had a restaurant next door, and Harry would be in the kitchen and he would play with the girls that would always, they were summer workers from
Yeah.
Europe, and they would be making a salad, and one of them had pigtails, and all of a sudden, and she happened to be the new one.
Yeah.
Of course, it always happens to be the new one out of the four girls, and they were all standing there, and all of
Initiation.
a sudden, her pigtails went up behind her head like that,
Yeah.
and one of the girls says, "Harry, stop!"
Mhm.
And the pigtails fell, and the girl said, "Did my pigtails really go up in the air?" And they said, "Yeah, it really happened." Well, that was her last day.
Ah, oh my lord. Yeah.
She was just scared shitless. Excuse
Yeah.
my French, but
Yeah.
but that's the
That
kind of
happens.
thing that fires me. And there were other people that I got to know up there that have moved in different directions around, because it's such a great area. It reminds me of the East Coast
Yeah.
for some reason, but it's been it's been passed by.
Yeah. You get those areas like that, living over in the East Coast in the New England area. The New England area, it's basically probably one of the most haunted areas in the whole country. Uh, some of the oldest still standing homes or homesteads or anything like that. Meeting houses before they had like churches, they would do everything
Right.
all in one meeting house. Where I live in Berlin, Connecticut, there's actually two of only 13 left in the country. These meeting houses from back in that time as we became a country. So those are all still standing. Um, Yeah, there's a lot of history in New England, and with a lot of that old history and the bloodshed and Native American land all over the place, you get a lot of things happen. After 40 years of trying to chase ghosts around and help the living, help the dead, and yeah, you see quite a bit, whether it be dark, positive, beautiful. I've seen a gamut of it, and I'm just grateful for all the time I've been able to do it, all the people I've met over the years, like yourself, Greg, and just everybody over those years that I've gotten to meet that aren't with us anymore, or at least I don't think they're with us anymore. But believe it or not, I have had Lorraine Warren come to me because of our relationship a few times over the years, just with guidance, and I could feel her and remember, and that happens. But yeah, they never really leave you. They're there for guidance. Those mentors that you have over the time, you could still hear those words in your ear that they told you to put you on your path. And now I'm at the age they were when I met them, and I'm trying to mentor people also that come on our investigations when we do them. I think our next investigation is going to be at a place called Glebe House. In the back is a garden called Jekyll Garden, and there's a cemetery nearby. So we're going to be doing that in September. But like I said, next week we'll be up in New Hampshire. But the next day on Sunday, we're going to have a psychic fair. It's free admission. It's at a brewery in Windsor, Connecticut, which is called Dudleytown Brewery. Um, the reason why I like Windsor, a lot of people don't realize, is 45 years before Salem, the first person accused of witchcraft in our country, or just at the time, not a country yet, but there was only like maybe 3, 4 towns at the time, and Alice Young was the first person hung and accused of witchcraft, and she was out of Windsor, Connecticut. The reason why I say that is a couple years ago, the court systems from the ancestors of these people that were accused of witchcraft back then went to the court system and were able to get them a decree said that they exonerated, that they weren't actually witches, which was great. So we celebrated that, had our first Connecticut Witch Fest last year to celebrate that, and then this year. It's great because it's very educational. People get to learn. We have a college professor that comes that wrote a book about it. Uh, and we have a lot of guest speakers that come to just compare and contrast of why that stuff happened and educate people. A lot of the ancestors don't like that we call it the Connecticut Witch Festival, but just for advertising purposes, I want to draw in as many people as we can because I want them to know this is stuff that still goes on today. People accuse people of things that they didn't do. We still do it. Not in the form where we hang everybody for it, but there are people that go to prison for something they didn't do because somebody doesn't like them, and they say yeah they did it, and people are crazy, and this is what happens in our society. So I want to bring that type of talk to educate people and try and help keep that from happening again, and let people know that this is what happened and we don't want to keep repeating that, group wise, where we
Oh,
alienated one group.
what witches, a lot of witches are very, very good people,
Hmm.
and so be it. I'm not a witch, but or
Yeah,
warlock or whatever I would be
yeah,
called, but
but it predates a lot of the paganism. It predates Christianity, and a lot of the Christian ideals are based off of paganism. When people do spells, what do you think a prayer is? It's a spell that you're trying to, it's just called something different. Um, when people take it the wrong way, we celebrate Christmas, we use trees. That was a pagan tradition. And it just, if you really look at it, I can pull a lot of the stuff apart, but that's not my thing. Everybody has the right to practice what they want to without persecution. Just because
right.
you don't understand it doesn't mean you're allowed to persecute it. And that's the type of education I like to give. Um, Just because you fear it or don't understand it, it doesn't mean you could persecute it.
Oh, that's the only way really to look at it, I
Mhm.
think. I think
Yeah.
you're 100% on the ball with that. And
Yeah. 'Cause people,
as Rihanna Trudel says,
yeah,
it was nice to meet you at the Paracon last week.
yeah, she was great. So I got to meet a lot of people. I know for me to remember, when you run these Paracons, you're running all over the place. And I know I met a few people, and I apologize for the ones I didn't get the time to talk with. And I want them to come to all of our events because I'd love to sit down with each and every one of them and thank them for coming.
She works with us occasionally on Psychics Unite, so
Nice. Yep.
and that's Scotty Rourke's group,
Nice. There you go.
and Scotty's my mentor. So,
Fantastic.
and I get to see him tomorrow.
Oh, that'll be good. So you're up in Wisconsin, right?
I'm at I'm at I'm in Illinois at the Illinois Wisconsin border. I'm
Okay.
like
So you're
I
driving out.
yeah, I'm driving over to Broadhead tomorrow morning,
Nice. Be good.
picking up a friend of mine that I used to work with at Ghost Research Society on the south side of Chicago.
What are you
And
picking up,
he
Len?
no, I'm not picking. I almost here. I'm gonna let you know this.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks ago, I went ahead and talked to him and said, well, I was going to be leaving. I'm going to go to the Paracon, and I thought I was going there Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm not. Obviously, because I'm here with you.
Yeah, I was about to say, did you bring your setup to the hotel room?
So I said, I get this phone call,
Yeah.
or he messages me like 15 minutes out tonight,
Yeah.
and he goes, send me the link,
Yeah.
and I went, I got Thomas on. Thomas is coming on. Now we'll make it. I don't like to have a lot of people. I
Yeah.
like to be able to pick one person at a time and be able to talk to them on a more of a personal level.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I says, and he's with me a lot because he's an old friend from Chicago.
Yeah.
So he's the guy with Dillinger, all the Dillinger stuff from Richard Crowe
Yeah.
and that. So, he's a great guy. And I just had to say, hey, we'll see you when I get back from up in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Because it was the Thursday night before Paracon. Uh,
Yes.
we were on Len's show. It was his birthday. So I told him I'd get him a birthday present. So I brought Johnny Zaffis on with us.
Oh, man,
Yeah, he was happy. So
he
that
was
made him very happy. Yeah. So there was a
tickled.
big group of us just wishing him happy birthday and talking about Paracon. And, I think that's the first time Len's been speechless in a long time. I love the guy. He's great. So he's on our
He's,
network now, All Access Network TV, where I do the every Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all those things, where we do serial killers, supernatural, and murderers. We were gonna do one live the past Monday, but everybody was like traveling, and it just got crazy with Wi-Fi, so we just showed a repeat. But this Monday we're going to be doing talking about Harold Shipman, who was called Dr. Death or the Angel of Death. Over 250 people they said he put to death, to make it look like they actually died when they didn't. And that was a crazy case, and a lot of laws changed because of that.
wasn't there? There's a gentleman that used to be, and I can't think of his name right now, but he wrote a lot of books on serial killers in Chicago, from the Chicago area, and
Yeah, that was well,
Borowski.
yeah, but there was on top of that FBI BSU. It was Robert Ressler.
Okay.
So Robert Ressler was the FBI agent, but he was the one that would do a lot of the interviews, the Mindhunter movie, the TV show. And the crazy thing is when he was younger, he was in the Boy Scouts, And in the same neighborhood, also in the Boy Scouts at the same time, was John Wayne Gacy. And as they got older, when Gacy got arrested and he knew Wrestler was in the position he was, he says, I only allow him to interview me. And that's where that stemmed from. So,
Wow.
kind of weird how that all came
That
together.
is absolutely
Yeah.
unbelievable when you think about it.
Yeah. Out of all the people in the world, so in that situation.
They
It's weird
they
how
have
the world works.
they had something like I have a friend that's a documentarian. He does documentaries, and I've been working with him on quite a few of them. And there's inklings that that might happen.
Yeah.
With that particular gentleman, but he had ones on the circus train.
Yeah.
The all those people that died on the circus train in 1917, I think it was. And we all worked on location with that. We were at Bachelor's Grove when he did his first one,
Yeah.
and then he did uh, of the Dunes. I'm trying Diana of the Dunes,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lady who was one of the first big women in big business in Chicago.
Yeah.
And she was making a lot of money. She was way up there, and all of a sudden she just walked out one day and left.
Yeah.
And she went around the south side of Lake Michigan and went over to Indiana side
Mm-hmm.
and made herself a makeshift little place to live. And that's where she stayed.
Wow.
And we went over there and we did an investigation, and it's always part of that, of his documentaries. And we did an investigation over there, and we were picking up words from her.
Wow.
And we were doing Estes, and actually they were EVPs that we were working on that night, because it was hard to do in Estes back in that section because we weren't picking up too much besides that.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting, and he's just a talent. He's done so many good ones. The other one was the other one was the day the circus train didn't come to town.
Yeah. It's crazy you say circus because back in the day in Connecticut, years and years and years ago, um, they had the Ringling Brothers and all that in the big tent fire in Hartford, where a lot of people died, and that section. Um, yeah, there's a lot of these cases just all over the country where these things happen. There's plenty of places to get some really good documentaries of history, um, the paranormal and everything like that. I really like the documentary side of the paranormal as opposed to a scripted show. Not that I'm saying scripted, but it seems to happen. Okay, they meet the person, they do the history, they do the investigation, and they show the people the evidence. That which is most of the shows. Just something different. A documentary, is always good. Probably one of the better ones I think over the last few years that I really enjoyed was the Newkirks when they did Hellier.
Yes,
So that was
yes,
very good because it's different. But you get to see the thought process of what they thought of, to how to garner what they were trying to go after. Let's try this. Let's call so and so. This is the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and that's what makes a good documentary. Because so many people they just see bam, 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 bam. Where sometimes you like to see the struggle. Okay, I got to sit here for an hour to try and get something while you're narrating some other stuff you're thinking about at the time. It just makes. I think that makes better film of what we do as investigators or just as a shaman or anything like that.
that's remarkable, especially the work you do, which is
Mm.
just amazing. I think, when you brought up Newkirk's,
Yeah,
it was way back when they first came around with their museum,
yeah,
and I had been out. My daughter was out in Colorado,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to go to the Stanley.
Yeah.
And we went to the Stanley a couple times, and one of the tour guides just happened to be Connor Randall.
Yeah. He's the one that came up
Right
with
in
the
Car-
Estes method. Yeah.
and so this made me go ahead and go backwards and go into what they did to do it
Hmm.
and all the things they were working on before Hellier.
Yeah.
And, then when that came out, I was like a kid in the candy store.
Yeah.
I was so excited, and then that came out, and I'm getting goosebumps right now
Yeah.
talking about it because it was, and I don't know how many times I watched it.
Yeah. That's well put together. I know it won a bunch of awards, but I think the crazy thing is I remember when they were filming all that. There were little snippets. A lot of us used to get together at Mount Washington Hotel in New Hampshire, but I first met, Greg and Dana back in. There was a group of us that did an investigation at Lizzie Borden house, and that's when I was first introduced to the Estes method. It's when it was kind of a brand new thing. It wasn't on any shows yet, and I'm like, "Well, what's this?" And they explained what it was, and I'm like, "That's a pretty good concept." And then finding out that their other friends are the ones that came up with it at the Stanley, hence Estes Park, the Estes method. But as they were doing it, we were up in the room where Lizzie Borden's stepmom was axed to death, and we were trying to pick up. And me being a shaman, I'm able to pick up certain energies, but I'm asking questions because in my mind, um, there was rumor that he might have, you know, took advantage of his daughters, the better way to say it. So I was questioning that while Dana was doing the Estes method, and we were having an all-out conversation. It was amazing. I don't know how at the time. I always have a little skepticism in me and all that. So I would say to her, "How many fingers am I holding up?" just to see if she hears me or something. But we're going back and forth, and then I felt Andrew Borden come through, the father, and I think he was angry with my questioning. I wasn't doing it yelling at him or anything. It was just a normal question, me being ex law enforcement, how I would question somebody to get information, just slowly, surely, just, hey, did this happen? I think he became angry because I could feel the web feel, the electricity in my face, like he was in my face. And I'm just doing everything I can to keep him off. And we're going back and forth. Dana's channeling him, and I'm going back and forth. My heart rate skyrocketed, and I started profusely sweating. And then finally, when he left, I started sweating. My heart rate went back down and kind of calmed down and all that. So it was one of those top experiences that I had, and yeah, it was pretty profound. You know, I get those a lot, but to have a historical figure like that everybody's been talking about, try and get in your face, it was pretty crazy.
Have you had other? Could you name one or two other ones?
Um, Experiences that I've had, or historical figures that I've.
Historical figures.
Well, the I had a back and forth conversation, of course, with up at the Mount Washington Hotel. There's the famous Princess Room. The people that built that, her husband and her, and he passed away just before it opened, and she remarried, um, and she married a prince, and she would travel back and forth throughout, and she had her own separate room. So I've had conversations with her. So that's another historical figure, being of that, um, being a princess, of course. Uh,
Have you
you
been to
know
the Stanley?
the what?
Have you been to the Stanley?
No, my it's crazy. My niece lives out in Colorado. She's been there, so she likes the paranormal, and she's been there. She would send me videos, so it's nice of her to do that for me. So she's living out there. She's kind of following in my footsteps, though. She's working in the prison system like I did, and even though I
Oh,
told her not to. She still did it anyway. So,
God, that's
yeah.
gotta be brutal.
Yeah, it's nerve wracking for me knowing, but I think she's doing well. Um, so she's learning how to, I used to tell her about my time, and she would interview me for reports in high school when she was in high school. And, I feel like she's grabbing onto this. She went to college out in Colorado for that type of stuff. And, I'm proud of her. So proud of all my
Oh, that's cool.
nieces and nephews, and of course, definitely my daughters and all that. So yeah,
So
it's,
you had all daughters?
yeah, I got my two daughters. My oldest daughter, she went to college in Savannah, Georgia, at SCAD. So she was a animation major. My other daughter is another following in the footsteps, her psychology. So they're both still looking for the optimal job, but they're doing very well. My oldest lives in Portland, Maine. My other one lives here in Connecticut, around near me. But they're all out adulting, which I'm very proud of. They're good kids. They got their head on their shoulder, and they're both sensitive like I am. So,
Good.
and I'm able to talk to them about that and keep them grounded, which is a blessing.
That's very important. There's a lot of
Mhm.
people that wish they had a parent that was like that.
Yeah, it is. It's important, to the point. It was great over the Paracon weekend because having Letriana Brown there and her husband Matt Brown, who have written books about helping your kids that have psychic abilities. Now, a friend of mine who's come into the Transylvania restaurant where we do a lot of events, his granddaughter was there. She's only like maybe, at the time I met her, she was 13. She's 14 now. And she saw, you know, the golden circle that surrounds me, that protects me, my spirit guides. The only people that are able to see that are people that actually have real abilities. So that's kind of a test I do for some people. And she just came and says, "What's that golden circle around you?" And I'm like, "Huh, this girl's got some abilities." So she came up to me at Paracon and she was asking me questions. And then I saw Lee and I was like, "You need to go over and see Lee and Matt." There was another patron that came up with a young child, and Leach and Matt, there was another little table. They sat the two kids at the table and they helped them with all their questions. They took the time, no charge, to help them and all that. But, needless to say, the grandfather and the other parent bought them their books so they could help the kids even more. Lee gave them their phone number, says, "If you ever have any questions, just call me." So that's the type of people that were at Paracon, going out of their way to help the living that could potentially help the dead and all that, and our new generation that's going to be coming up, so they could learn the
It's
right way.
it's it's entirely different today compared to
Yeah.
where it was where when I
Hmm.
was a kid.
Yeah.
Like the first time we went to Gettysburg.
Yeah.
When we went to Gettysburg, I was 10,
Yeah. Me too.
and it was it was my dad, me, my sister, my grandmother, and we went out to visit my uncle who was at Fort Lee, Virginia.
Nice.
And so we all got together, and first in the morning we went over to Gettysburg,
Mm.
and we went right over to Reynolds Woods
Yep.
because that's really the first stop when you think about the whole battlefield.
Exactly.
And we were there, and my picture of what was in front of it at the time was different than when I went back the next two times
Yeah.
because I was an adult. But it was almost like there was a picket fence in front of part of it.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And then I remember the wind. And then all of a sudden we started hearing everything. And I mean, everything. I hadn't, I've never experienced anything like that except for when I was overseas.
Yeah.
To the point where you had the grape shot that was going off over the tops of your head, and the horses were screaming, and the gun, you could tell the difference between the pistols and the rifles, and you could hear the swords coming out and the horses. And I I remember at the end of it, and the wind, and then the wind would go back out, and it would sort of die out, and then the wind would come back in, and it would start up again.
Yeah.
And this went on. We were there probably 7 hours.
Yeah.
I I didn't want to leave there. Okay, my dad was like, I don't know what the hell's going on here, Will. Something's crazy.
How do
So
you explain that away, huh? Yeah.
so before we're getting ready to leave, and this park ranger comes up, and they didn't have any, and he goes up and he says, and I went right with him because I was interested to hear what he was going to say. He says, "Well, you got something going on out here or something?" And he says, "Pardon me, what do you mean by that?" He says, "Well," he says, we've been hearing all sorts of crazy stuff over here." And he sort of gives him a grin and he says, "Well, it happens every day
Yeah.
somewhere out here."
It is amazing because if you ask a lot of people, where did you have your first paranormal experience? The ones that are really intrigued by it, it's Gettysburg. As a youth, when you go there, especially in this area, the East Coast over to Pennsylvania and all that, yeah, that's a big one. The other ones, of course, in New England, having your first experience. There's so many different places too, but yeah, Gettysburg is probably one of the most active cities in the country.
Yes.
Compared to Savannah, Georgia, a very active city. New England is just totally active, but every spot, no, New England's crazy. You got the, Bridgewater Triangle and all the weird stuff that happens out there. It's just a lot of history. Um, and I like it that way because when Charles and I do our events, we like to go to places that never really been investigated before. So when you come with us, we're giving you fresh energy that hasn't been investigated before. Some places we go back, but it's usually just us that investigate the places. So it's our same energy going in and we're more recognition of it as opposed to group after group after group. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes if you could shift the energy of a place if you investigate it so much to the point where it's not the original energy of
Yeah,
that place.
exactly.
Yeah, and
It's like a turnover.
exactly. One place could be a calm energy, and if enough people put in that intent of fear, it could create something a little more fearful for
Yes.
people. And I've seen it happen. But Charles and I go to these places. We do a dinner. We create the intention, so make sure everybody has the right intention going in. And every time we've done one, there's something has always happened. In some of these places, they're old and all that. They have little things going on, but sometimes the energy of the people together brings stuff out. Little things, just spirit box calling my name out, which is a norm because I have a deal with my spirit guides. If something needs help, they tell them, and then it tells them to say my name. So you'll hear my name through ITC devices quite a bit when I'm around, which happened on our ghost hunt with John Zaffis and Lee Brown and Stacia. We were downstairs and they were upstairs, like another couple floors up, and the spirit was calling my name. And Lee said, "Well, he's downstairs." Well, we were, it was basically, well, they kept calling my name. And so Lee says, "Why don't you just go downstairs?" And I asked her, "What time did that happen?" I said, "Around then." It's because when we were downstairs, all of a sudden the device started saying my name out of nowhere. And I think it actually left downstairs to come see me down there to help it make, its decision, help it with whatever it wanted to tell its story and help it move on. And, that's what we do. So that's a pretty profound thing to happen when people come to these events and they get to see that happen. It is profound. And I enjoy it. It's a daily thing for me. But when you see it for the first time, it is mind blowing for some people. I've done one on a famous one that I did was on the East Haven Trolley Museum, where you could literally feel the energy rush up the trolley after I helped this gentleman Billy move on because he wanted to go to college. And there was a trolley from New Orleans. He didn't go to college because when I saw through my third eye playing the World War II, I realized that he went off to war and died. So he didn't get to go to college. So I told him, I said, Billy, you served our country, you died for our country, that's college. As soon as I said that, you feel a rush of energy go up the trolley, and our patrons get to hold the instrumentation. Before I helped them leave, the bell meter was peaking at 98. You know, it's usually 0.1. No, this was 98 point. It was going that high, where a couple people had to hold themselves up because the energy was so overwhelming. Had everybody sit down, and then I talked to Billy, and has everything rushed up the trolley. The instrumentation went from that high milligauss down to exact zero instantly. Like
Wow.
that. So people just sat there for 10 minutes, didn't know what to say. Then I had one of the women that comes to our event. She's been at it for about 30 years. She says, in all my 30 years, I've never seen that happen. So, but that's, when we do these events, you think all these people around that you're not going to have that intimate assistance for a spirit. And so that's what blew my mind. Because usually you think about it, when you want to tell your story intimately, it's almost like that one-on-one, like you would have with your psychologist, just you and them in the room, and you're able to open up, as opposed to 20 people sitting on a trolley, which was pretty amazing. And that was a good one. And there's a lot of different people that we worked with that have all those kinds of stories, and that's why Charles wrote a book about those types of stories. He had a first edition a few years back. I think he's pretty much sold them to everybody we know. So that's why we're coming out with part 2, the true stories of Connecticut, the true haunting stories of Connecticut. And there's going to be book 2 is going to be coming out soon. But speaking of books, I've been in a few books, just some of my cases. Just, I don't know if you know.
Are you authoring now? Are you authoring
I
now?
write a little bit for people, but this one's by Rebecca F. Pittman. This is a case
Okay.
that I worked, the Enfield Demon House, but
Okay.
we called it the History and Haunting of the 1771 Enfield House. That one, the group of us, my partner Stacia and I, and our whole group, Wardruna, were trying some new methods, and we were upstairs, and this seems like some of the spirits wanted to leave because this place has a lot of spirits in it, and it was like almost like a portal opening up, and we counseled a whole bunch of spirits, 8 of them, to help them move on. And we were upstairs, and another psychic was downstairs outside taking a break. Didn't know what we were doing. She wasn't even part of it. And she says, I watched 8 shadow figures walk out the door and down the street. And that's in the book. You can get it on Amazon. Rebecca Pittman has a lot of books. She has a lot of true crime books, paranormal stuff. Her newest book is about the Bell Witch. Her last book was the Smurl Case, which is going to be the new movie coming out, the last of the Conjuring movies that's going to be coming out. So there's a lot of that. But, there's a whole chapter that I'm in on that. But I write forwards to a lot of books. The
Well,
newest book out here is Echoes of Violence. That's by Danny and Lauren Perez, The Radicals. I wrote the forward to that because of my background in law enforcement and profiling serial killers and just paranormal, and how some cases, how like something like Amityville, where the DeFeo, murdered his family and then it became haunted, and how it, corresponds, and this book goes through that and how that happens on different levels. So I wrote the forward to that. Dr. Letriana Brown just wrote a book about the Victorian style of, the table tipping and all those style of ghost hunting kind of things back then, bringing them up to now and what we could do with those old methods now. So I wrote the forward for that too. And that book is out also. You could get it on Amazon. And they have a lot of great books, both of them, even Danny and Lauren. They have like children's books too. They have Count Fangula, a little boy, and their books are about helping kids with the tough questions that kids ask, like, Count Fangula has to go to a funeral and how to help parents get through that and let the kids read it. So it's pretty cool. And they have a lot of these different stories, just a matter of drawing the pictures for them. But they do stuff about ghost hunting, and these are all friends of mine. And we throw ideas back and forth. But yeah, I really do. Everybody around me writes. I just write all their forwards for them. But I need to write a full book soon. Some of the cases that I've had over the years, probably my biggest case that is like a onion that you had to keep peeling back. It was a difficult case. It had a little of everything. It was a house in Connecticut, and still to this day, I won't say where it is. When I write the book, I'll make up a town, and just to keep that area safe, because it was a crazy case. And I know once the book would come out, everybody's going to want to know where that house is. But that was a house where back in the early 1900s, guy murdered his wife because she was supposedly cheating on him with the border next door, because it was tobacco kind of farming at the time, and murdered her in front of his 6 children. And when we find out all this history, when we're doing the investigation, I had SLS footage and it pointing it at the area where the murder happened, and 2 stick figures came up and reenacted the murder. And I have
Oh,
that all
God.
on video. And as I was trying to speak to it to get it to stop, there was knocks on the wall, like it was answering me back with knocking about as loud as a 22 gunshot going off. So it was pretty intense. All the hair was standing up. The electricity in there of that going on was crazy. And then the stick figure that was beating the other one went away, and the other one was still there. And I said, if you're the woman and you don't want to be here anymore, I'm going to reach out my hand, just touch it, and you can leave. You have free will. And the figure reaches out, touches my hand, and disappears off the screen. So it was pretty intense. And that's after 40 years of doing this. There's a lot of cases. There's some cases that were really bad that I don't talk about because I'll never give it power again. And it's different because I know there's a lot of people that have their videos and saying running down everything's a demon, and if it really was, you'll find out the hard way. So I really tell people, what you wish for is what you'll get, what intent you put into it. So if you keep asking for a demon and you get one, very hard to get rid of. So not easy.
If I could get your opinion on something.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, I have a show that's called One Spirit Connect, and what we do is we do Estes methods.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
have a
I've
group
watched
of
it a couple times. Yeah.
and I try to go ahead and have everybody that comes into the chat to, earlier in the day do a little meditation so that when they come in, they can set the intent for us to communicate with spirit.
Yeah.
I also ask that they use us as the conduit through which spirits speak.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything else that you think that I should say, or is that sort of complete?
Well, when you invite something in, it's always good to protect yourself to the point where anybody that we invite in is only for the greater good and the higher power, depending on what your beliefs are. I really surround myself with the Archangel Michael, to the point where I say I'm covered in the blood of Christ or whatever comes up. Yeah, I'm a shaman, but I still believe, in our Savior, or if you believe that higher power, those types of things. It depends what you call them, but I still believe in Mother Earth and, the animals. I call on animals to protect me, spirit animals. So I'm very diverse, and I think you have to be to do what I do. I don't deal with just Christians. There's other types of esoteric people that have paranormal issues, and I have to make sure that the energy or their beliefs that they put out, I have to match to be able to help them.
Did you know Christopher Sutton?
No, I don't.
Okay, he was a
If I
shaman.
saw the face, I might. So I'm more of a recognition of faces.
Yeah, he was a shaman, and he was on a couple episodes of, I want to say he was on Ghost Hunters.
Okay.
He used to bang a drum a lot.
Yeah, the a lot of it is, the drums are always a good thing. There's sometimes the bells. There's just different things, you know, different rituals and all that. I'm not a very ritualistic shaman. I do call the four directions. I do those types of ceremony to honor land for Native Americans, but not all shamans are Native Americans. The word shaman originated in Russia, and that's where a lot of it was the Carpathian Mountains. Those are the shamans that were called Mulfors, which are very not in existence because they tried to get rid of all of them. They tried to kill them all off because of their abilities and their power. And they were, there was another family that's part of it, the Rusins, which are very much not really in existence really anymore. But my partner, Stacia Wills, is a Mulfor. She is part of the Rusins. She's 11th generation shaman. So I've seen her do things that are, pretty crazy. And just all our group being together, Lee Brown, our friend Gina, Kathy, everybody that's in this group, we come together and work as a team without ego to help the living and the dead and counsel people through things, let them work through any traumas that they have, because a lot of trauma is what causes these paranormal issues to begin with. And that's why I love our group work, Juna. It's amazing, and it's going to change a lot of lives. It already has. It's been in the works for over 20 years now.
If you have anything down the road or anything that you want to share that you want me to put out on my page and that, I'd be more than grateful to go ahead and handle it for you.
And I appreciate. I'm grateful for that too, Greg. You're a good guy, and I always love talking to you. So it's always amazing.
It's a fantastic evening, and once again, it's like we're sitting here going, well, we're getting a little late here, and I'm going, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah,
this is Thomas is here.
Yeah. Well, I know you got to get up and drive in the morning.
Yeah. So, but I want to thank you very much for being here. And before you leave, I just want to acknowledge the people that were in here tonight. And it's Linda Judd, Adriana Trudeau. We've got Barbara Spear and Kim Baranski.
Nice.
And they're all great people. A lot of them are from Psychics Unite. Yes. And I want to thank them all. For Anton Ritter.
Nice.
Why do I know Anton Ritter? I don't. Welcome, Anton.
Yeah.
And it's great. And thank you very much for coming on short notice like that. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Anytime I can help you out, Greg. If I'm available, I'm there for you, my friend.
Well, next time we'll go ahead and we'll make sure we have plenty of forewarning.
Yeah.
Have a great time at your Paracons, and if you get an opportunity, send me a list of all your events too, and that way I can go ahead and post it.
I hope your page is big.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll go ahead and make it. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate
you, Greg. Good night, everyone.
Take it easy, everybody. If you want to hang around a minute, it's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and say good night to everybody. Good night. And we'll see you probably now 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. So. Ha 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 ha.